welcome back to Crochet Delight. I'm Barbara, and today is an installment of Let's Get Serious. So, let's get serious, everyone. Okay, so today I have two stories for you. They were just on the news, on one of the news channels last night. They're both pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. And they are going to make you think, oh my god, what the hell has happened to humanity? Is humanity dead? And in these two cases, yes. Yes, humanity is dead. So, without further ado, we'll start with the one that isn't so graphic. This one, just yesterday, again, on one of the news channels, they had video footage of a teacher just standing there at the bus doors, holding the doors open, watching the bus driver abuse an 8-year-old special needs little girl. And she stood there for a long time just watching. And then she closed the girl into the bus and walked away and didn't report anything. And the bus driver was just abusing this little girl. Just shaking her, kicking her, yelling at her. And the reason why was because the girl was crying. She had a bad day, and she was crying on the bus. And the bus driver yelled at her to shut up. She didn't stop crying. And then the bus driver just felt the need to beat her, to abuse her, to kick her, shake her, yell at her, scream at her. And what was reported, that somebody reported, thank God, was that blood-curdling screams were heard from that little girl. So my opinion on this is that teacher and that bus driver can go to hell. They have no humanity left in them. If you're gonna just stand there and watch a little 8-year-old special needs girl, or just an 8-year-old little girl that was crying, get abused by an older woman, or anybody for that matter, and do absolutely nothing, you're just as bad. You're just as bad as the abuser. So you can go to hell, and I hope to God that those two women end up in jail. Alright, so that was that first story. Alright, so now we're on to the next one, and this one is the one that will get a little graphic. Yeah, I know, the first one was really bad, but this one's worse. They're both pretty damn bad, but this one is really, really bad. So if you guys don't want to hear anything involving another little girl or another child, go ahead and turn it off. I don't blame you. But, alright, here we go. So, last night on the same news channel, right after that first story, there was a story about a former police officer. She was a mother. She was a mother of 3 children. I believe one of them was around 7 or 8, the other one was 9, and the oldest was 11. Now, bear in mind, yesterday and the day was Tuesday, so the day before was Monday. They probably had an assignment to do in class where they had to read, because according to the mother, it was odd for them to read. So, they were reading. They looked up at the mother, and from what I could gather, it was either something was said, or they just heard a noise, or, you know, it's instinct to look up from a book and see what's around you, and then go back to your book. So that part is unclear as to why they looked up, but they were reading a book and they looked up at their mother and then went back to reading. And the mother said that something didn't seem right because they were reading. So I knew they were up to something. Bull crap. They were reading. So what happened to those little girls is the two youngest were tied up with duct tape and gagged with socks while the mother took... Well, first, from what I heard, it was not an ice pick. It was some little pick, I can't remember, and she hit her oldest with it. And then she proceeded to go to the kitchen, grab a knife, and then come back and stab her oldest daughter as many times as possible. I mean, her siblings and the doctors said that little girl was stabbed more times than anyone could count. It's just ridiculous, right? I know. But that's not all of it. The woman then proceeded to set the house on fire. And somehow the youngest was able to get away and to get to a family member's house that was just down the street. So we have a somewhat happy ending, but the woman not only set the house on fire, she fled for 18 hours. So this most likely happened Monday and just made the news yesterday. She fled, and she was just down the street, and she had been there for 18 hours, from what she said. And what she said when she was caught was that she was defending herself against her oldest, and that she set the house on fire to make sure that her daughter was dead. That's her reason for doing it. That they looked at her funny when they looked up from their book, and she set the house on fire to make sure that her oldest was dead. I don't know what kind of mental problems this woman has, but you can tell that there is no humanity left in her. She's so used to being power hungry that she actually had to take it out on her own children. Her own children, an 11-year-old. The 11-year-old is in critical condition as of right now. And hopefully she will make it. Hopefully. She was stabbed so many times the doctors couldn't even count. And I can just imagine how horrible that sight was for her siblings. Especially the youngest. That's going to scar them. That's going to scar them for life. And what happened to that special needs girl in the story before, what happened to her, that's going to scar her for life too. She's going to be afraid of any human interaction, and so are these little girls. And if that 11-year-old makes it, which I hope she does, she's going to be scarred for life too. That mother did not deserve to be a mother. She did not deserve anything that she got. She didn't deserve to be a police officer because she took it too far. She took it way too far, and she was discharged from what I believe a week before to a month before this incident happened. Alright, well, enough of this. Let's get on to the question. So what I want you guys to do is, I'm asking you to give me your opinions on today's two stories. So, what did you think about what happened to the 8-year-old little girl? And what do what do you think about what happened to these 3 little girls and their deranged mother? And that's it. I hope to have a better story for you guys, one with a much better happy ending later on. So, alright. Have a delightful day, everyone, and I look forward to hearing your opinions.